We've been talking about mulch and the different types of mulch, and we've got a few other points that we wanted to make. And the first is, one of the biggest reasons that you do mulch is to control weeds in your garden.
Right, and there's different types of weeds, annuals and perennials and whatever, and the mulching will help control certain weeds like annual weeds. But if you just throw the mulch over the top of a dandelion plant or whatever, it's just going to come right up through it.
Sure.
So yes, it does have some control on it, but it's not a miracle cure necessarily.
Right, and if there are perennial weeds, you want to make sure that you get all of those out of there right down to the roots before you put your mulch down. So another question we get a lot is, will you be using landscape fabric? So, what are some of the implications you would want to use fabric?
Well, I really want to use landscape fabric when I'm using like a stone mulch or a mulch like the mini nuggets or the cypress that last a long time, because that'll help keep the mulch clean, keep dirt from getting in the mulch, and they don't break down very quickly, so it works very well. If you put the finer shredded type mulches, yes, the fabric's going to help with some weed control and whatever for a while, but as these finer mulches decay, you can still get weed seeds blowing in and still get some of that problem.
And then they'll grow right on top of the fabric.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's better to use the fabric around, plantings that don't change, like shrubs and ornamental grasses, things that are permanent, versus perennial gardens. Usually you don't want to use it because things have to spread and move around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And another point we wanted to make, we see it a lot, is what we call the mulch volcano.
Yeah, I mean, people like to just pile the mulch up around the base of a tree, and we harp on people as it's not a good thing to do. Right. And, people come back and say, well, people have been doing it for years and years and you don't see any problem with the tree. Right. But there is it's called an armillaria root fungus that can start to grow around that, and it may be a very slow death to the tree. And it's just not worth doing it because it might take 10, 15 years for that tree to die as a result of that mulching around it. Right. So as good as you might like it look, don't do it.
So, and if you are going to mulch around a tree, make sure you can see the flare of the trunk all the way down to the ground. You don't want the mulch built up against the trunk.
Exactly. And now in all this mulch that we've been talking about, we're not showing any red.
Yeah, there's no red mulch here. Why don't you tell me why?
Well, the red color to people, it draws your eye. And when we put mulch on a landscape, basically, we would rather the front door or specimen plants or whatever becomes the focal point. The mulch shouldn't be the focal point. Right. With red mulch, when you look, that's the first thing you see is the mulch. We don't like to see the mulch. Mulch is kind of to help everything else.
Right, you want to see the plants first.
Right.
Yeah. So if you've got any other questions about mulch or need help with your mulching and maintenance, give us a call. Thank you for joining us. I'm Liz Snyder.
And I'm Jim Hotelling, the home gardeners from Hillside Garden Landscaping.